Well, I've got Andrew Coltart alongside me, a member of the 1999 Ryder Cup team for Europe. And Andrew, we're going to take a look at it from a European perspective. So let's take a look at how they line up for those first four matches in the morning foursomes of day one of the 2020 Ryder Cup. Justin Thomas, Jordan Spieth, no surprises from the American side, putting their best foot forward. Would you say we've done the same with Jon Rahm and Sergio Garcia?
Yeah, you've got to make a statement, haven't you? And what better than making the world's #1 go out there with a top point scorer in Ryder Cup history? Sergio Garcia can converse in the same language. Maybe that has an opportunity for them to just put something in the back of the minds of that special American pairing. But yeah, that's a classic duel.
How critical is that match? Because you look at how good they were, obviously, at Le Golf National in Thomas and Spieth. They are a formidable partnership, but they are up against the world #1 and the highest ever point scorer in Sergio Garcia. Bullseyes on both backs there when you look at that matchup. How key is that for momentum and the feel in the team with what happens in that opening game?
Well, it's always huge because everything starts to filter down to the rest of the players on that squad, and they want to make sure that there's as little red on the board for as long as possible, really, is the kind of case. So certainly some of those players maybe be expecting the likes of Rahm and Garcia to go out there, get ahead, and the rest of the team can gather some momentum off the back of that. But it's a juicy match.
Dustin Johnson, Colin Morikawa, arguably the best driver on tour. You know, Bryson leads that statistic on the PGA Tour, but Dustin's been there for many years now. Colin Morikawa is definitely the best iron player on the PGA Tour. How they match up against Casey and Hovland?
Well, I think it's some of our best iron players, haven't they? I mean, there's nothing wrong with Hovland's golf at all, any aspect of it. Maybe round about the greens, not quite so good. Casey, really interesting. Personally, I thought much more of a four-ball player, but of course a quality iron player already, as he's proven this year. 8 top 10s he's had, and he was 4th in the PGA Championship. So playing pretty good, putting nicely as well. And it's interesting. That's a really tough match up there for both sets of players. But the quality of iron play on display will be sensational.
Koepka and Berger's an interesting one because they've played together before in the President's Cup, played one, but lost one as well. So they've got a losing record, but we know what they're capable of, both phenomenal talents, up against Lee Westwood and Matt Fitzpatrick. So what I want to ask you here is, we know coming in here that they weren't playing their best stuff. What about putting them together on that first day?
It's interesting. Obviously, if two players aren't playing well, then potentially, if you'd split them up, you'd maybe lose 2 points. So I'm not saying for a second as well that's a sacrifice, because what that is you get two phenomenal foursomes players. They're both incredible off the tee. Fitzpatrick, one of the most accurate in the game at the minute. Westwood would know how good he is off the tee and with his iron play. Fitzy, if he gets the putter going, that's pretty good. But it's also an opportunity to see how they'll play. Westwood's not going to play 5 matches, an opportunity maybe to think about resting them in the 4 balls, maybe returning again in the foursomes, or maybe even not. We'd have to wait and see.
Not really many surprises on that American side. Cantlay and Schauffele, we sort of knew they'd be together. Talk about being in form. You got the Olympic gold medalist and the FedEx Cup #1, who really is in form, arguably more so than any other player in the entire event. Up against McIlroy and Poulter. I mean, if that can't whet your appetite for this year's Ryder Cup, I don't know what will. What do you make of that matchup?
Just cracking it. There's something in Rory's eyes. I look at Rory's eyes. There's something different about him this Ryder Cup. He just looks like he's here to mean business. He's found himself under a bit of pressure for trying to be the leader of the team over the last few years. And maybe he struggled a little bit with that. But, of course, with the postman on his shoulders sort of riding him through that finish, I think it's going to be tremendous. It's going to do Rory the world of good. Poulter is up for absolutely anybody. And for him to play against probably 2 of the best players on the American side at the minute, he'll be right up for that.
On paper, it looks fantastic. When it's out there in grass, what do you think is going to be the outcome of this one?
Well, the American team, the last 6 Ryder Cups, they've won 5 of the first sessions and halved the other one. So they are undefeated. Goodness me, it could go 4-1, 4-0 either side. It could go 3-1, it could go 2-2. What am I going to say? I think possibly America again out there with the home support. I think history's going to be on their side. They might take a 3-1 lead, but I'd love to see 2-2.